The reason we have converged here is to have a very candid discussion and dialogue around a number of critical things. As you all know, agricultural mechanization is very critical. Agricultural mechanization solves a lot of issues with our farmers. And therefore, this forum is going to help us to understand a few things. One of them is we're trying to look and scan through the market and our environment and see what are the offers, what do you have in the market in terms of mechanized equipment.
You've asked for people to identify their most important three line items, and actually in this catalog and during the demonstration, we showed what we believe are the 8 most important small-scale farming equipment. So perhaps if anyone could add to that list, that would be very useful to us and to the purposes of the forum. Thank you.
But let's hear from the farmers and the processors what is important to them. So let me start from our farmers so that they can tell us what equipment would be important to.
We plant green grapes, but we don't have a harvester of green grapes. That is the one thing which we want to know, wherever we can get it or it can be manufactured, to have a way of not losing a lot of harvest due to post-harvest losses.
The price of the iconic machine is around 190,000. It can be very challenging for a local farmer to raise that amount or to have that machine. But with a system that can access, the farmers can access, actually it can be very successful, and it can have more meaning to the farmers.
From the list, we are missing a planter, a simple machine for planting. Because to plant here, you need at least 3 to 4 people to do planting.
If we can get a small machinery that the farmer can cut the grass, the pasture for baling, just a handheld machinery or something like that, should be very useful, because most of our pastures go to waste because it has to be. We have to use tractor, drone, that kind of machinery, but the establishments are small, so it becomes very tedious. So if you can consider fabricating such, we appreciate. Thank you.
It's a high time for the manufacturers to come up with solar powered technologies, so that we can use in Makweni we have a lot of the solar sun, so we should come up with such technologies.
In the list, we have choppers. Now, after chopping these animal feeds, what about the storage? You also need from that list, you can design something or a way in which these chopped animal feed can be kept. For example, silage.
As you're looking at this mechanization, I was seeing the kind of strength the man that was using on the field there. So can we have less heavy equipment so that also the women can be, it can be less tedious to use? Because you might find that you've got an equipment, but again, it's very heavy to use. So let's try to balance the two as we bring that on board. The other one that I'll talk about again is, are we able to train our local artisans so that they can repair the machines and they can be able to support us in running those equipment? Thank you.
We have identified what else we need in our catalog, what else is important. I want to get back to the suppliers of this equipment. I know every year you sit down and plan. You sit down and say, now next year we want to add ABCD into our product line. Can you tell us what is in your plan so that we can see whether what you're planning is in line with what our farmer needs and what our processor needs?
We have been getting more of requests. The first one is, of course, the planters. At some point, we have been supplying the jar planters, the double barrel. We have done a lot of that in Kwale, Kinango. Yes, but we also want to get tractor, our particular working tractor, PTO driven planters and harvesters. That is something we are looking into. Yes, the second thing apart from the planters and harvesters are the solar dryers. You know, as you mentioned, the value addition is also a big deal. So the solar dryers are something we are looking into. And the third one I know we are also doing is oil extracting machines. So many people are going into sunflower farming, and that is one of the machinery we've been getting a lot of questions about. As also something we are looking into.
What I can say is that we would like to have to ensure that we are as affordable as possible, so that the technology can be accessible to a larger audience. Something I forgot maybe to mention earlier on is that we already have solar dryers, and we are already installing. So when you come to us, we are able to discuss and know what are your requirements, and which size and all that will suit you best and for what purpose. So in that regard, I can say we have already begun the journey of value addition.
So we've managed to do mouth pressure, which can do for the small grains, like the sorghum, amaranth, palm millet, two small grains, but not maize. We also have the cassava chipper, yeah, which can chip and then you can dry very fast and you are able to store it as long as you want. The mouth pressure, it will thresh as well as winnow. You get very clean material, yeah, just ready for marketing. Then we also have bean pressure also. And also we have cassava harvester. That one you get it in Karo, Katamani. We are still continuing, you know, research is a process.
We were talking about local fabrication. We're talking about local capacity building. We need to understand what is the current practice. For example, Iconic, what are you assembling? What are you fabricating locally? What are the challenges around that of local fabrication, so that we may think through. And I want to bring in now the policymakers here, so that what is it that we can do to encourage local fabrication of the agricultural mechanization equipment?
Okay, with local fabrication, we have been doing quite a number of machinery, the threshers, the shellers. We also have the cassava chippers, among other value addition products. Those ones are affordable in fabrication. But it comes to other machinery like the walking tractors. At the moment, it is, in terms of biashara, it is more affordable to have them imported than fabricated here.
The cost of import is, less than our local materials. What are the policymakers doing? Because we need to put the taxes are so, it is so expensive, and if the policymakers can act on that, they can reduce the tax for local materials, then that one can also, bring those costs down. Because the farmers may not afford 200,000, and there's climate change. Sometimes you plant, you find that you have no harvest. Yeah, to have like 100,000 to buy a machine. So if the cost of the materials can be brought down.
The first thing I will always look at is the risk, whether when I finance this farmer, my money will come back. But generally, at the top level, strategically, Equity Bank has dedicated of 30% of our financing. All the loan book that I'm supposed to do, I should do 30% of that towards agriculture. We are calling it food and agriculture support. And that is something we are practicing here at Kibwezi. Yesterday, I was with the farmers. Tomorrow, I will still be visiting farmers even on a Saturday, because we want to actualize the support to farmers. You have talked about affordability, and whether we have a structured way of financing.
At the top level, we are financing agricultural equipment where a customer is supposed to raise at least 20%, and I'm able to finance the 80%. But when it comes to this small equipment, I'm able to finance 100%.
What is the reason you're hearing from farmers that they don't take even that 100% financing? And I'm alluding to interest rates, repayment time. Is there any like fixed pattern you see in there?
We want to at least awaken the African economy, and we are supporting all the way from manufacturing, mining, agriculture, things to do with the trade. And in that, we have now decided strategically to empower the farmers and attract them, because they know the narrative is that banks have been avoiding farmers. They have been avoiding lending to farmers. For the last 1 year, we are putting a lot of effort towards at least financing them. Initially, it was a bit risky. In fact, for example, in Kibwezi, when I came here last year, but we had only given 500,000. That was the total loan book for agriculture. If my friend here can tell you, in the morning we were reporting, and we have already financed 57 million to farmers only. Whenever you are meeting farmers, let them know that Equity has decided from the strategic level, 30%, I am supposed to have a loan book of 1 billion in Kibwezi. 300 million should go towards agriculture. And we are not bargaining about it with my bosses up there. And that is exactly what we are doing. And that's why we are here. That's why even on weekends, I'm meeting farmers to ensure that we actualize that.
We have several products which are youth friendly, and mostly we target youth who are in business, who are in agribusiness or in agriculture. We provide credit to youth who are in groups. That is a group of about 5 members or individual youth. So if it is a youth, yes, the major requirement is the registration certificate, which they get from the Ministry of Social Services. From there, they open bank account, and after that one, they can apply for the loan.
I didn't know that Equity can actually finance some of these projects, because their proposals they do, and they come out to be very, very, very good. And I know now going forward, I'll be sending more fourth-year students to you for funding, because they have all sorts of ideas. You know, the young people, they really think, yeah. And I'm also happy. I don't know why I'm so ignorant, yeah, about the credit for the youth. It's good that I started through this meeting. I've learned a lot to be able to help our young people.
All these platforms are focused on large-scale commercial farms, and therefore four-wheel tractors with large implements. And one lady was referring to here, the hay cutting is not possible, and especially in some of these more bushy ones. So where can we and how can we make sure that the paddle weeders, right? Priority number one for many of us, and I think we have done a survey, which we will share to all of you through your email, with the participant farmers, what are their priority investments. That's also a goal. That's what we give back to suppliers, to financiers, right, to better understand. But how it's really like to hack and as a very important stepping stone to get those small equipment to the right people, and also de-risked and financed and a service provision. So, and I think that's, as far as I know, a missing piece.
With that 12 horsepower tiller, you can till over 1 hectare in a day. So if your farm is 3 hectares, you can till it in 3 days by machine, or you can till it in 3 weeks by hand and labor. And there's not necessarily an economic advantage to investing in the machine if you're only going to use it 2 days twice a year. Okay? The economic advantage rests in having the equipment and the expertise to maintain that equipment available within the community, and to have the services offered at a competitive price. one that is more competitive than relying upon hired hand labor, and one that is more competitive and perhaps more flexible than bringing in larger equipment.
Some of these machinery are really very heavy. You know, it's not only to women, yeah? I don't think even myself I can be able to use such kind of machine, yeah? But more importantly, we are targeting the youth. We know they are energetic and they can be able to use those kinds of machines. But however, the challenge that has been given to the manufacturers is that you move away from the diesel or petrol-based handheld machinery to use of solar and so on, because you don't again want to put the expenses on the part of the farmer. The initial cost of purchase, I think, is enough so that the farmers not have to struggle again meeting other expenses. So with those few remarks, I want to thank everybody, and even as we disperse, I want to wish ourselves a safe journey to our respective places.